It is semi-final Saturday in the Western Ultimate League Championship weekend here in Portland, Oregon. It is a toasty afternoon. We already saw one semi-final go, and Seattle Tempest punched their ticket to finals, and now we are about to watch San Diego Super Bloom take on Colorado Alpenglow. I am Katie Killebrew here alongside Charlie Mercer. And we are in for a treat of the two most recent champions facing off against each other in this semifinal. Charlie, what are you looking forward to in this game?
Both of these teams are known for their big explosive plays. They're going to throw lots of hucks. They're going to be physical. They're going to be tracking the disc. Their defensive intensity, it should be a really competitive matchup.
We saw in the previous semi that the wind created a little bit of havoc with those longer throws. Do you feel like that favors one team over the other?
I think that the depth of the roster and the heat is going to be an even bigger factor in this game as we get later in the day and it gets hotter. So the heat might be more of a factor than the wind.
That is a very good point. And this Colorado Alpenglow roster, they have talked about their depth, but we've really seen them rely on a couple of key players on their O-line.
Yeah. Ari Nelson, Abby Thorpe, just, at the heart, everyone talks about this dynamic duo, but also joined by newcomer Kennedy McCarthy, Alicia Dixon. There are, many players that are making up this O-line that is going to be challenging for any team. A noteworthy change is Sarah Ito moving off of that O-line onto the D-line and leading the team in blocks.
I know, nominated for Defensive Player of the Year, but is really going to have to do a lot of work against this Super Bloom side. Super Bloom is a team that I think runs most even lines of any team in the league, and they don't follow necessarily a strict O and D structure. So it's a little bit more difficult to get a handle on who are you going to even have a matchup on, and there are some really tough players on the Super Bloom side to try to cover.
Abby Schultz has been having just an incredible season. The MVP nominee from the Super Bloom this year is definitely making waves, but you can't forgo, right? You can't forgo Kayla Helton or Teresa Zettner or, Maxfield joining the roster. This Super Bloom roster has so much depth, and what's so impressive is they have very little turnover, so they've been able to develop the roster.
Yeah, and we're going to have to see who takes the matchup of Abby Thorpe, the MVP nominee from Colorado, because she has really proved that as a captain, like, she takes so many touches for this team and has been absolutely dynamic to guard.
In the end zone, her ability to grab disc after disc with that placement, the athleticism, and I think what makes Thorpe so threatening is her ability to throw as well. Pick up the disc, turn, and immediately shoot precise shots into the end zone.
Absolutely agreed, and hasn't had to play both ways so far this season, but Colorado talked about the fact that they might try to put them on stronger lines to get breaks against this San Diego side. And Thorpe, being a leader on this team, both on the field and off, is going to have to make an impact today to punch their ticket to finals.
Thorpe is also just such a fun player to watch. The energy they bring, stellar.
Taking a moment for America the Beautiful on this Saturday afternoon in Portland, giving those players a little bit of time to think about it as we see Super Bloom taking a stance to get a quick team photo. But a lot of the focus of this Super Bloom side is going to be on Abby Schultz. The MVP nominee from Super Bloom this year has taken a real step up from their rookie seasons into this playmaking space.
Schultz is almost unguardable in the end zone. Their ability to make play after play. Schultz leads the team in goals with 16. They lead the team in receiving yards with over 1,200. And they're leading the team in huck receptions with 9. They're just category after category. Their impact is felt so broadly. The give go, the ability to that slicing inside shot and I think this homegrown talent has developed over the course of multiple seasons that I think Schultz is emblematic of what Super Bloom has been able to build as a program. And this stellar exemplar play from Schultz is the epitome of that.
Absolutely, and in a team full of stars, to make the MVP slot with the departure of Dina Elimelech, but Kayla Halton and Kristen Pajunas and Caitlin Weaver, all world players. The U24 UC San Diego Star really making a standout. And it's going to be interesting to see as we see teams huddling in the shade, right? We're going to keep an eye on the heat, but there is no current reason based on the wet bulb technology, right, which measures heat index. Humidity being very low means we still are playing this game, and that 5-mile-an-hour wind I feel like is misleading because it is gusty out here at the University of Oregon Portland Stadium.
And not only gusty, but swirly. And that makes it so much harder to plan around because one moment it's crosswind, one moment it's a little bit more upwind or diagonal, and so players are going to have to be constantly adjusting to the wind as they're going throughout this game. And that is a really hard ask for both of these programs.
Super Bloom still huddling. Alpenglow having taken the field. It looks like the offensive line out there, as you can see Coach Lena Gorin talking to that line. Colorado in the light jerseys, San Diego in the darks.
A strategic difference that we'll be watching throughout the course of this game is that Colorado has a very set O-line. The chemistry between their O-line is incredible, and it's generally the same set of players. And because San Diego does this rotational substitution system, there are players that are flexing between offense and defense, and play time is going to be more even for San Diego, and that may have an impact on the outcome of this game given the current weather conditions.
Kelly Iwamoto for San Diego Super Bloom gets us off. A big pole going up, being fielded by Nelson. Upfield to Thorpe on the near side. Reset to May Hecht. Colette Pellegrini, Coco now with the disc. Hecht. You can see in a little bit more of a structure picking their targets. McCarthy brings it back in bounds. Leading pass for Nelson, but it's a D. Iwamoto gets there, back to Helton. First turn of the game. Zettner looking for a reset. Contact in the reset space between Pellegrini and Rebecca Ellis.
Turnovers for Colorado's O-line have the potential to be really challenging because it's such a tight rotation. They're going to have to play D, and it really would be beneficial for Colorado to get a quick turn here so they can get off the fields to keep their legs fresh.
Yeah, as we're watching this, if you go, it said that it was ruled a foul by the observer, who's going to back out of the space as we have that 4-second pre-sol before Zettner can get the disc. Now to Ellis, inbounds with that back foot. Looking to get it off the line, finding Iwamoto. Iwamoto and Ellis, longtime teammates, trying to capitalize on that chemistry, but instead shooting long. McCarthy picks it out of the air, one turn apiece. Too far for Dixon, quickly giving the disc back to San Diego. Iwamoto centers to Mika Leslie. Helm, upfield too high for Helton. We've seen a lot of turns in this space in the previous semi. Nelson doesn't hesitate, goes deep for McCarthy. Players running to try to catch up, centering. Bransford, back to McCarthy. Dixon with no mark yet. Backhand across the end zone. Caught in the wind, intended for Thorpe.
And I think you could see there that Thorpe thought the disc was going to come in at a sharper angle, and so was cutting for a different throw from Dixon. And, put their hand up of like, hey, my bad.
I think it's normal to see teams figuring out the wind on a first point as we see Leslie coming back in with the disc. Ellis trying to point Helton a little bit further upfield. Helm. Back to Leslie. Holsters, puts it up a little bit floaty, and Ellis, oh, not there. Mansfield instead gets it. Helm steps on the line and is called out by the observer, I think. unsure, coming back. Players played that no mind. Very close to the sideline and now very close to the end zone. Helm, too far for Iwamoto. Lots of break opportunities on this first point and a lot of time coming off the clock. As Nelson puts it out wide for Thorpe. Upfield to Pellegrini. Moving the disc. Gets a dish back from Bransford. Nelson upline. They go over the top to the far side of the end zone. Can they read it? They do! What a grab! I believe that was Bransford, but I honestly can't see. Sorry, that was McCarthy. Just out of the fingertips of a lot of players, and here there was a turn right, not read correctly, up and over the crowd. That time gotten. Mansfield working just too far in the reset space, feeling it out. But this throw, thrown to Kennedy McCarthy, gets it on that trailing edge. What a catch.
McCarthy just is so impressive this season, first year with Alpenglow, and has really made a huge impact on this team. Breakout Player of the Year finalist, leading the team in per game goals at just under 3 goals a game, so we can expect to see them in the end zone multiple times.
Maggie O'Connor pulling for Alpenglow. Took almost 5 minutes off of the clock for their O-line to score, exactly what the San Diego D-line would have wanted. And now their O-line. Pick up here, Laura Bloomy. Will have to get the job done. Walter finding Pajunas. Pajunas throwing into space, looking for Weaver, but a little bit too hot out of the hand.
Pajunas really upping her away shots this season and having an incredible number of assists, really turning from the receiver to being the very dynamic thrower with a big arm.
Yeah, I believe her previous season high was 14, and she currently has 22 assists on the season.
Fact check confirmed.
But now Colorado's D-line getting to work. Blaze Sevier working with O'Connor. Up to the captain, Black. Too far, trying to get run down. And this disc is going to be picked up again by Bloomy. Looking at the beanbag on the field that the observers throw to see where the disc went out of bounds. Very good awareness. Inside shot to Maxfield. Tight. Weaver. Walter. Backhand to the outside. Bile was the intended recipient, but just overthought the direction of the cut. Miscommunication. Another break chance for Colorado.
And the throw didn't have as much edge on it as it needed to come back into the end zone. Maggie O'Connor, not a rookie in the WL, but a rookie on Alpenglow this year.
Black holding the disc in the middle of the field, finding Sevier. Pajunas trying to set a mark. Sevier gets free again. Big backhand going up all the way to the end zone, not quite there, but Alex Guy gets the disc. Pivoting, it's a dish, and they're in the end zone. Bristol Lavoie with the score.
That is an incredible process win for Colorado. There's that shot from Pajunas that was a bit out to space. Players running after the disc, going a little bit too far, creating a number of turnovers. But here is that one to Guy that got Colorado that really set up this break opportunity. I think Guy does a great job there looking for the reset and then turning downfield as it wasn't open.
I think it was Vlack there who gets the quick reset and flicks it in.
Thank you.
Yeah, but Lavoie was doing work in that deep space, and San Diego had those so many break opportunities, and then they get broken. Colorado up 2-0.
I think that Colorado thrives on this underdog mentality. They have this like dog theme that we'll be talking about throughout the course of the game. And to start the game 2-0, it's like really feeds into this like, yeah, we're gonna push.
Nissen picks up the disc and gets it upfield. Now Schultz within the red zone, close to the end zone. Stambaugh, another captain for San Diego. Resetting to Schultz. Guzman. And it's Schultz with the score. Smooth work from San Diego Super Bloom.
And that's why Schultz is the MVP nominee.
Really went every other for that line.
Their ability to move the disc in both big spaces and small spaces has made them just impossible to guard this season.
Yeah, not the tallest of stature, but skies so many players. The physicality, we've been talking a lot about the offensive prowess of Schultz, but really is down to business when is on the field, and you won't necessarily see a lot of emotion coming from her, but cares so deeply about the team and teammates. And we're gonna see if the next line up from San Diego can get a block. Nelson going a little bit in an upwind direction right now. McCarthy looking for a reset. Dixon getting free. San Diego doing a little bit of a scheme, but that drops before Thorpe can get there. Helton, Iwamoto. Very flat marks from Colorado. Ellis and Helton. Helm in the middle of the field, looking further, I think intended for Zettner, but too spicy.
And it looked like Zettner thought someone was behind them to get it.
Dixon trying to get it off the line, finally threading the needle to Thorpe. Thorpe has another bobble. Hruzhnikova and Iwamoto working every other. Hruzhnikova and Iwamoto leading into space for Helm. Can Helm get there? She can't. Ambitious.
And it sets Colorado up to have to go the whole length of the field with the wind in their faces.
I would say historically, San Diego is not a team that beats you in the first quarter, but by the fourth quarter, they have ground you down, as we see Sarah Levin, bobble that one. Colorado's catching, not where they think it has been. The disc in their hands are having some miscommunications as Ellis pivots, looks, resets, tries to get it to Iwamoto, but you can see the wind just having a field day down there. Colorado in possession. Nelson. Hecht. Across to Pellegrini. Hecht. Guarded by Leslie. It looks like a foul called on that by Thorpe. A little bit of the pressure from Zettner coming underneath, hitting the hands and stopping the ability to catch.
But uncontested by Zettner.
Quickly resolved. Dixon and Hecht giving and going. The San Diego defenders switching, trying to stop the upline momentum of Colorado, and a timeout called by Colorado in the middle of the field. Their O-line continues to just struggle in the middle of the field.
In their regular season matchup, let's listen into their huddle.
You're missing one. Okay, bring Ito!
Patience on two. 1, 2, patience. What are we running? First.
As we listened into that huddle, we could see that maybe Alicia Dixon not ready to go back on. And who did they call on? Sarah Ito, a long-time Colorado Alpenglow online player who has really stepped up in the defensive space, being called onto this line, which is the only change for this Colorado side. So even when their O-line is struggling, they'll take a timeout to rest, right? As opposed to, which is allowed within the rules, change out the full 7. It's an interesting strategy in that it is differing from the way that most other teams are choosing to use this tactic. Nelson to Thorpe. Floating. Nelson shoots towards McCarthy. McCarthy looking, trying to find up and over the top for Bransford. The O-line for Alpenglow gets it done.
With most of the first quarter done, Colorado is up 3-1. There's a lot of conversation around going to Colorado or going to altitude and that shift of playing like sea level teams playing at altitude. But I think another factor here is Colorado coming to sea level and having to adjust their throws. And I think that you're seeing the precision increase as Colorado is getting used to throwing at sea level, in addition to, you know, the wind and the heat as, you know, as other factors.
It's always a challenge of who can adapt to the conditions the most efficiently. And so far, it seems that Colorado is that team. It's been a lot of back and forth. And if you had to ask me, based on maybe vibes, that San Diego would be up, but that is not the case. Colorado's getting it done. The O-line for Super Bloom gets it to Bloomy. We got to do more puns with that as she throws it out of bounds, intended for Weaver. Offensive possession not as efficient from this Super Bloom side. O'Connor, lefty backhand across, trying to get it to Thorpe, who crossed over for this line. Bloomy to pick up. Caitlin Weaver with the disc on the sideline. To Bloomy, both products of UC Santa Barbara. Far side to Bile. Pajunas elects for a reset, almost a little bit too far in that downwind direction. Pajunas. As time expires, it's a possession game. Walter has it. Can San Diego score? It's so far. Bloomy runs through traffic to get there. Bile tries to get there. Up in traffic, and it's Walter! It never went to who I thought, but it was all Super Bloom, and they bring the game back up one more.
What an incredibly exciting last possession. This move by Bloomy is masterful, right? Like you can feel the stall count rising and the pressure going. They switch hands to throw that to space as a, let me put this and give us a shot at scoring.
And as we take that, we're gonna head to break, but more coming up in this semifinal. Colorado leads 3-2.
Creatine is only for extreme athletes who eat dominance.
Actually, let's skip that part. Combat Candy is for everyone who trains hard and deserves better than choking down powder. 5 grams of science-backed creatine in a gummy that turns supplement routine into something to look forward to. Just because your workout is serious business doesn't mean your creatine supplement's meant to be. Combat Candy. Making strength frickin' delicious. Try it at combatcandies.com.
Colorado Alpenglow up 1 break, 3-2 over returning champion San Diego Superbloom. They are both looking to punch their ticket into finals as the sun starts to go down and we get a little bit roasty toasted here in Portland, Oregon. We're seeing the adjustment that coaching make. You can see Coach Thomas Eccles of Alpenglow in that dog 2026 shirt of the Colorado Alpenglow, as Alpenglow is going to start on defense.
Alpenglow has the distinction of being the only team that has lost to all of the other teams present at championship weekend. And when we talked to them before this, they talked about how that, in fact, that is actually an advantage because it is A, hard to beat a team twice within a small period of time, but B, it gives them that competitive advantage where they know what they're up against and they know what tweaks they need to be making. And Colorado is making those adjustments now.
San Diego Superbloom, Guzman with the stall count rising, Gray and Bow. Rozicki Shaw now on the sideline. Outlet to Tori Gray. Gray pointing to the deep space, slings a flat one to almost no one. It looks like a stall called on Gray. That hand tap on the head is the hand signal for stall. Stall, no contest of the disc, will come back to where Gray attempted to throw it.
And that's a significant yardage difference that really helps Colorado because they have less than half the field to go here.
O'Connor picking up. Upfield, Lavoie. Inside, a little bit of pressure, but a miscue gives San Diego the disc back. Upfield, Stambaugh, backhand into space, intended for Rozicki Shaw. Rozicki Shaw running it down, up and over. It's bobbled several times, but Lavoie gets the block.
Lavoie was behind and made up the ground to get this, stayed in contention, made sure that that second effort wasn't successful.
Great second effort from Rozicki Shaw, though. A lot of yards for Alpenglow to go on this break chance. Wieringa and O'Connor working together upfield, finding Guy. Jamison, there's a call way back. Right, it looks like a stall is called significantly further back on O'Connor. The observer is really ruling that it is not a stall, but it will go one continuation. So whoever O'Connor threw it to, and all the players should reset to that point. Sometimes that player counted 7-second stall, and the WL feels pretty short.
It's a hard balance of, giving players autonomy to play the game and also making sure we are all following the same set of seconds.
Yeah, the same time. Time being time. Run through D by Rozicki Shaw on Lavoie. Gray gets it to Bow. Bow to Schiltz. Schiltz, angle on the throw, too much for Gray. A lot of UC San Diego players on that particular line, but that historical chemistry doesn't yield in a point.
The replay, you don't see what Gray just did to set that up, which is like they threw and then they busted down the field, so they got themselves open by yards because they used the speed of their first step.
Jamison working with Grace Brown. O'Connor gets the dish back from Guy. Big backhand goes into the space. Guzman read it well. The former two both played on Astra in previous seasons together, now on different teams and opposite teams.
The mobility within the league is a very fun storyline to watch.
Rozicki Shaw dances and gets that one. Bow into the end zone, feet in. It took some effort, but San Diego finally holds in our first point in the second quarter. How long did that take?
It took about as long as it took for the first point in the first quarter, actually. About 4.5 minutes. Taking a look at some of those replays. That long throw from O'Connor, really nicely blocked. And there's that final goal. Bow putting that in for San Diego after an incredible amount of tenacity was demonstrated in this point.
Yeah, Mars Bow is such a young player. Last year was their rookie season in the league and has taken such a huge step up both on their college team and in this. Mars smiling there for the camera, but they have done such an excellent job of improving their throwing ability and really anchoring in the backfield. Last year they were mostly a receiver and now really a dynamic threat. And still has eligibility in college. Wild. Colorado, Kennedy McCarthy working against a poach scheme, trying to flatten out, making throws difficult. Hecht finds a way through. Bransford, big backhand into space. Lev gets it inbounds.
Great work by Sarah Levin.
Sarah Levin. Now the other side of the field, Thorpe has it, elects to go short to Hecht. Moving little bit, changing the point of attack, resetting the stall, and Nelson just walks it in, making it look easy. A short point to counterpoint, if you will, the previous one, which took a long time. Here's another look at the fancy footwork from Sarah Levin.
And I want you to watch in this end zone possession the sort of junk set that San Diego was running on Colorado to try to have sort of a front wall to make Colorado go lateral. And Nelson does a great job sort of moving enough past the defense to be able to create a window where they can be hit at the front of the end zone. But I think that sort of like some of those small tweaks, now that we are in the second quarter, we're going to start to see both of these very strong coaching staffs make those adjustments to try to shut down whatever they're seeing happening on the field. And that was one of the tools that Super Bloom clearly is planning on using against Alpenglow.
Pull from Captain Haley Banis. Quickly moved back the other direction, now in the hands of Walter. Weaver elects to bypass Bloomy in the middle. Hits Ishii instead. Bloomy has players free, but tight defensive pressure. Sevier guarding Pajunas. Pajunas finds Walter, who released from the handler space. Black tight mark. Bile gets one. Bloomy laying out. A pick called behind them is going to send this one back, even though Weaver gets it in the end zone. I think that expression from Weaver speaks for all of us, in that what an exciting run of play stopped by a call behind. But I can see how a pick happened. There were a lot of players, you know, trying to braid their way through one another. I think this is probably going to go back to Bloomy. As we breathe before this disc comes back in. Bloomy, stall count rising on the side. Up and over the top. Great D. I believe that was Rachel Stockdale who got in the way of the pass. Inside shot. Upfield to Nicole Havel. Black too far. Bloomy picks her pocket. Gets a reset over to Pajunas. The marks have really increased from Alpenglow, and a lot of people coming through there, as I think Ito landed a little funny after getting that block. Here's another look. Pajunas floats it. And Ito got the block over Maxfield, but didn't see, I think, the other player that had come in from the other side. The wind definitely picks that one up. You can see it change trajectory. Jumping, Ito gets it, and then Bile also trying to get the second effort over Maxfield. Players, it looked like, just did not know that they were both coming into the same space.
And I think that as Ito landed, landed with her leg straight, which had sort of a weird impact because the collision changed the anticipated way that she landed.
Yeah, getting seen there by a trainer, but hopefully will come back in this game. Thorpe stepping back onto the field for the ancillary injury substitution.
Ito is leading the team in block. She had 19 blocks during the regular season, which ties her for a WUL record for most number of blocks in the season. And so that block that you see there is what we expect from Ito and the significant contribution. So there's a big hope that she'll be able to come back on the field.
Yeah, and certainly no intentionality on any of the players there, but a dangerous, mathematical situation when things are coming at each other. But the disc is a break chance for Colorado. Thorpe is on the field. I think Mika Leslie also came on for Walter during that substitution. And a timeout called by Colorado on the far side. As we see these teams take a little break, I know that there's a lot of supporters at home for both sides who are really just willing their team to score right now.
So this is the timeout kid shout out. So our Alpenglow kids, Xander, Evie, Ari, Lyndon, Jasper, Nico, Owen, Huxley, Grega, Tatum, Barbara, Piper, Oscar, Miles, Parker, AJ, Maya, Violet, and baby Eden. Thank you, Alpenglow supporters. Children, you are such a big part of this program. And our Super Bloom timeout kids shout out. Cora, Wesley, Charlie, Bryn, Reese, Bodie, Rio, Austin, Mackenzie. Thank you, Super Bloom kids, for being part of this family.
We love it there. The kiddos of coaches and players, board supporters, and really just part of the family that makes up each team and what makes the Western Ultimate League a really special place to play Ultimate. Colorado taking this timeout. They're going to come back on, and it looks like, as I see Nelson there with the disc, that they are going to have their usual O-line try to punch in this break chance, which San Diego has gotten a lot of these back. They are down one break in this game. Nelson puts it up. Pajunas gets a hand on it, and now their O-line's going to have to play D. Unsure what the call is between, I think Ishii was on the mark, and Nelson. That is where the disc is coming back to. Observer Jen Wu is saying that it was it was not a stall. Therefore, the disc is going to be played where it landed and not at Nelson's feet.
Makes a difference in how far Super Bloom has to go.
By about 50 yards. So I think an important discussion to clarify, especially if you are hoping that you have a short field, and now instead we see Gray picking up with a long field. Finds Pajunas in the middle. Pajunas on that inside angle to Schiltz. And again, that same place of attack to Weaver, really trying to find that soft spot in the Colorado marks. Bloomy fakes the deep, gets an inside to Weaver. Weaver to Schiltz. Patiently finding their spots, picking their shots. Weaver had Schiltz on the outside, but elects to go open side to Pajunas. Pajunas floats it. It's Megan Maxfield, and the Super Bloom score 4s.
Game is now tied for these teams. In their previous matchup, taking a look at this replay, that was a phenomenal bid from Bloomy. Bloomy putting the disc out to space. There's that long shot from Nelson. And Super Bloom in this scoring possession, you know, you saw that the throw from Pajunas to Maxfield, but I think like their ability to so patiently work the disc from, you know, the 30-yard line where Gray initially got possession to the field is really going to be a testament to their ability to succeed in this game.
Yeah, and I just want to also point out that Colorado took a timeout, right, and put their O-line on, so it might feel like a break because their O-line did just get scored on, and now they have to go back on the field and try to do it again. So it is even, but something like that can add up in a game like this. As we see the centering pass, Nelson and Hecht out wide to Sevier. Nelson gets the up line. They're faking the backhand, middle of the field, leading for Hecht. Nissen almost gets a hand in there. Hecht inside lane to Abby Thorpe, guarded by Abby Schiltz. Abby on Abby, MVP candidates marking each other. What more can you ask for? But Bransford into the end zone for Kennedy McCarthy. And a clean Colorado score. This is where Nissen almost got a piece of it. But the trust in the system, Bransford and McCarthy gets their O-line back off the field.
The Abby on Abby matchup, I want more of it. The MVP versus MVP, like both players who are so hungry for the disc, I think that is going to be such a fun matchup to watch. And when we think about matchups, earlier in this year, these two teams played. And San Diego won. But when they won, they went on a run at the end of the first quarter and got up by a couple and then were able to maintain that lead. That story is distinct, right? You had said earlier that San Diego doesn't expect to win in the first quarter. You know, they're playing that long game, but in the previous matchup, they did actually kind of win in the first quarter and then were able to maintain that. And right now, you're seeing this dogfight between these two teams.
Under 2 minutes until halftime. Leslie working with Bao. Up over the top to Ellis. Leslie really significantly improving the impact that they've had for this side as San Diego tries to break this Colorado zone, throwing a lot of throws to get wide. Upfield to Leslie again and Ellis. Iwamoto and Zettner. I think I called Iwamoto Bao earlier, but Iwamoto upfield. Leslie working with Zettner in the backfield, and who gets open in the front but Kayla Helton.
Kayla Helton has had a little bit of a quiet season from the stats perspective, playing through some various injuries, but is undoubtedly a leader for this team, and that their leadership comes from the top. Showing up and building this San Diego program over the course of seasons has led to players like Mika Leslie and Ellis playing the role that they played on the field in this point, because you have a player like Helton who is taking you to cross training to go line dancing, who is running pods, who is showing you what it feels like and looks like to have that championship mentality.
Yeah, it's amazing that more players don't take Kayla up on the line dancing invitation. I think almost everybody has been at least once, but it's an experience. Kayla is known for, I think it's Tuesday night line dancing in San Diego.
Sometimes Thursday.
Sometimes Thursday. As we see Pajunas pull 46 and counting down seconds on the clock. Hecht and Nelson. Thorpe on the far side.
I think Colorado is doing some clock management here, trying to move the disc laterally to have time expire.
Gets it to Hecht. Hecht upfield. McCarthy trying to get a reset, has to go up and over the top, floating. Nelson reels it in calmly and puts another one to the end zone. It's Pellegrini. But they leave 10 seconds on the clock.
It's time for one possession. Really well placed shot from Nelson to Pellegrini. Shout out to East High School, where Thomas, Ari, and Nicole all coach. They know you're listening, and they are stoked that you are part of the program. Ari Nelson as one of their coaches.
Timeout called as we have just a few moments left on the clock. In the Western Ultimate League, possession stays with the team that is holding the disc when the clock runs out. It's not a buzzer beater. It really favors offenses and puts pressure on teams to maintain possession through there. And I really love this rule because I think that it forces you to think about when you have the disc, how long you're having it, and if you are letting the other team kind of counter punch back the other way.
This is a situation where it doesn't make sense to take an aggressive shot deep early in a point so that you have some sort of later field advantage. It really plays to the mental strength and fortitude of a team, and I think that is something that San Diego is very capable of in this point.
Yeah, I think that when we talk about clock management, though, if Colorado had managed to hold off scoring this point for 10 more seconds, then the end of half would be 6-5 and San Diego wouldn't have a chance to come back. But because they left this little bit on the clock, It doesn't mean that they have to score in 9 seconds. They just have to have possession, which now, as we see 3, 2, 1, and Leslie is holding the disc as it floats for Weaver. Weaver gets that, and now it's on San Diego. Can they score, or can Colorado get a block? They do. It looks like a little bit of contact might result in a call. Sorry. Here's another look. No call from Helton. I think it was Wieringa getting block on that inside, so they don't end up being able to punch that in. Schultz goes inside and a clean block, and then tries to avoid contact. And that was Rachel Stockdale with another block for Colorado. Up 1 and so much more to play for.
That was a truly tight and passionately fought first half between Colorado and San Diego.
Yeah, there were a lot of points that took quite a bit of time. Not as many points maybe played as in the previous semi, but I couldn't be happier with that as a 1-point game. And as we are joined by Coach Lena Gorin of Colorado Alpenglow. Lena, how was that first half for you?
I mean, it was definitely intense. I think we generated some of the opportunities that we want to. And we also gave them some opportunities, and we're lucky to have pulled through on some of those holds.
Are there any adjustments that you're looking to make in the second half?
I think a lot of the adjustments are kind of reiterations of some of the stuff that we talked about going into the game, like striking and filling through their sags in order to open up those looks. So just kind of reiterating that. And then I was happy with our patience through the zone, so some positive reinforcement there. And then defensively, just continuing to generate pressure. Some of these overthrows are because of our defensive pressure, and reminding the team that those are going to continue to pay off, and then slowing it down on the D-line offense just a little bit.
Lena, you've talked a little bit about this team's energy, the joy that they play with, and the dogs. What are you expecting when you go back to the locker room, the energy that you're going to find in there?
I think it's going to be really fiery. I think that they're going to be really hyped about the things that we're doing well, and also really unsatisfied with really unsatisfied with the number of conversions that we've had. So I think they're going to be really, really hungry.
Well, we'll see what that is. We will let you go and join them and look forward to what you can do in the second half. Thank you so much for joining us. Good luck.
Thank you. All right.
And with that, the teams go to get some shade in the locker rooms, and we will take a break as well. But do not go anywhere, because only 1 point separates Colorado from San Diego. Who will punch their ticket to finals? Stay tuned after the break.
Down in the car, one time give it all, bust it open hard, let me see you drop. Get down in the car, one time give it all, bust it open hard, let me see you drop. I fucked up this Russell, baby, we hustle, but the oh my. I fucked up this Russell, baby, we hustle, but the oh my.
club season? Come to Ski Town, August 15th and 16th in Salt Lake City. There will be a women's, mixed, and open division. We are now accepting bids, and scan the QR code on the screen or email skitownclassic@gmail.com for more information. We'll see you at Ski Town.
Creatine is only for extreme athletes who eat dominance.
Actually, let's skip that part. Combat Candy is for everyone who trains hard and deserves better than choking down powder. 5 grams of science-backed creatine and a gummy that turns supplement routine into something to look forward to. Just because your workout is serious business doesn't mean your creatine supplement has to be. Combat Candy. Making strength frickin' delicious. Try it at combatcandies.com.
Down in the car, one time give it all. Bust it open hard, let me see you try. Get down in the car, one time give it all. Bust it open hard, let me see you try. I fucked up this Russell, yeah, we hustle, but the oh my.
Planning your club season? Come to Ski Town, August 15th and 16th in Salt Lake City. There will be a women's, mixed, and open division. We are now accepting bids, and scan the QR code on the screen or email skitownclassic@gmail.com for more information. We'll see you at Ski Town.
It's a goal!
second half about to start. San Diego Super Bloom trails by 1 point to Colorado Alpenglow in this absolutely scorching second semifinal. Which of them is going to face Seattle Tempest? We go down to Coach Amy Suleba of Super Bloom and tell us, how was that half for you, Amy?
Again, this mic? Nope, that's not the mic. We'll find it. Okay, here we are. That half for us, you know, it's about energy, and when we are playing with energy and we're playing with poise and we're playing the type of joyful competitive ultimate, we look fantastic. And so we just need to make sure we are doing that coming in the second half, and I think you could see that in the first half when we were doing it and when we were not.
When we talked to y'all before the tournament, you talked about how this team wants to rip, and when you got to Portland, I think there was a sign here that y'all found pretty great.
Yeah, they call it Rip City. And so we were saying like Rip City population 25. And so I think honestly that's what we need to do a little bit more out here is remember we're in Rip City.
Well, as the game gets into play behind you, we will let you go back to coaching. Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck in the second half as we see Kelly Iwamoto get a block upfield to Ellis. San Diego started on D, and they get that grab. Zettner gets it, avoids Harushnikova, and it is 6-6 to start the second.
It's so perfect. We were just talking about ripping it because that's exactly what Ellis did right there. Ellis ripped it, and Zettner secures it.
Really great read, and then you can see Harushnikova almost just trips, and then Zettner, athlete that she is, protects her teammate's life. Great work there from Super Bloom. What a way to come out of half.
And I think that Super Bloom talks about playing with this like joy and this team first mentality, and that's what we just saw in that point. The happiness, the collectivism of not cutting for me, but cutting for we, that as all of those pieces are moving together in tandem, that is where Super Bloom finds their groove.
The O-line for Alpenglow back out. Ishii on the mark. Nelson gets it to Dixon upfield. Pivoting, trying to find a reset. Loses yards. Nelson fields it. Back to Hecht. Upfield, Bransford reads it well. Pajunas poaching off and closing down the lane. Colorado takes advantage going the other direction. Hecht elevates it. Bile denies the Alpenglow O-line. Hits that one almost out of the park and into the baseball park. Ishii. Break opportunity for Super Bloom. High stall out of the hands. A stall called on that one. Weaver couldn't get it. It looks like Dixon making a very athletic play in the background, but that play had stopped significantly earlier than there. Pajunas gives the high five. Well deserved from Dixon.
But I think that kind of effort from Dixon is, part of how they play. Like, I'm going after it, and also the hunger from Colorado in general. A lot of stall calls this game.
Thorpe gets it from Nelson. Over the top to Dixon. Pivoting. Nelson on the doorstep. Dixon, the effort again, marked by Walter. The trailing edge layout rolling grab. I don't know how you practice this, but Dixon gets it almost every time. Alpenglow out to the far side. McCarthy, and in the hands of Bransford. It's a score for Alpenglow. And a missed break opportunity for Super Bloom. What a possession. That's the D by Bile. And this is the resetting catch. Getting it from Dixon. And the throw, McCarthy into the hand of Bransford.
Bransford doesn't get all of the hype that some of the other players on this O-line, but I think that they do a great job playing their role and like filling the holes and working around the other players from Alpenglow to fill holes in really significant moments like they just did there.
Yeah, I was really impressed with Bransford's play at D1 College Nationals for Colorado Quandary as well. Bransford is a player who, like you said, sees space exceptionally well. And in this format where the stall is shorter, the space is so important. Short pull coming back a little bit. Gray picks up, working with Guzman. Schultz. Finds Rozicki Shaw. Nissen leads Rozicki Shaw in that give go. Gets a reset. Nissen, Gray, and Schultz. Pulls the trigger so quickly. Tori Gray is speedy, but I thought that was going to be too fast for Abby Schultz. Abby, what a play.
Noteworthy for Tori Gray is that Gray has spent most of her career as a cutter downfield, and that Super Bloom has pulled her back into the handler space this year. She started the possession, ended the possession by throwing that goal to Schultz, and this shift gives her that speed and that maneuverability to be able to hit those small windows, and great read by Schultz because it was coming in hot.
I think that you can't even think. That has got to be such a body reaction, muscle memory play that you just go for it without thinking. And it's one of the reasons why Schultz is so dynamic, is that a lot of those small window plays just is able to get her hands on it in a place where a lot of other players can't. And her teammates trust her to make those plays. Colorado's O-line. Hecht and Dixon working against the flat marks of San Diego. Upfield to Pellegrini. Zettner has taken the Thorpe matchup, which I love to see, honestly. Nelson. Back to Thorpe. Nelson and Thorpe giving and going. Slice to the middle. Dixon is ready. Leading pass for Thorpe. Out to the other side, breaks the mark, it's floating. Is it too much in the wind? It's out the back. Too much from Abby Thorpe, giving San Diego the disc and 80 yards to try to get a break.
McCarthy came close to tracking it, and it was just, about 6 inches above her head.
Really running out of real estate, though. Iwamoto. Zettner. Helton was there to look, but it's a timeout called by the coaching staff. Timeout for San Diego.
When we think about the stats for each of these teams in the first half, something that's really noteworthy is that San Diego had 5 different players with 1 goal. They had 5 different players with 1 assist and 6 different players with 1 block. And I think that really speaks to how evenly distributed the contributions from San Diego are. In contrast, Colorado had 2 goals from McCarthy, 2 assists from Nelson, 2 blocks from Stockdale. And so everyone is contributing in different ways, and the contributions look different for each of the teams.
And right now, it's really had us very even as we listen to this.
You're 2. Wait, are we doing a 23 or side stack? Side stack. You were 1. Either you're I do want it. Side stack, right. Boss, let's have you go 90. We can dribble if we need to. Let's have you in my play. Boss, your defense? Defense.
And there we go as San Diego draws up a play out of this time. It's a different line on the field, or maybe just Biles has come on. Sorry, Bile. Leslie is going to pick up the disc. And San Diego has not been great with their break chances thus far. So at this point in the third quarter, they're going to have to get one back.
They were 0 for 5 in the first half.
Weaver upfield for Ellis. Foul and no contest from Black. Carolyn, captain, guarding Rebecca Ellis. Finds Leslie all the way across. Weaver gets it. Sevier in pursuit. Bile in the middle, dishing back to Leslie. Leslie guarded by O'Connor. Finds Iwamoto. Weaver looking for a reset. Elects to go back to Iwamoto, trying to get this big hole in the middle of the field. Bile cuts into it. Finds Abby Schilt on the far side. Sorry, the near side, up. Trying to get underneath it. Ellis to Weaver. The break for Super Bloom.
First time this entire game that they have had a lead.
Ellis absolutely elevated to get that. Diving to save possession. Schultz goes up over the top. Black in pursuit, and Ellis just gets it, and then casual as you please into the end zone, making what was a very hard-fought break look a little easy peasy at the end.
San Diego, as sort of a city that is represented, the players are closer in geographic proximity, and so they have more ability to play together at more opportunity. And with the continuity of the roster, more of the San Diego players have been playing together over the course of a longer period of time. And I think you're seeing some of that chemistry play out in that last scoring possession.
Colorado's O-line, Dixon to Nelson, to Thorpe. Centers it back, but not a lot of angles to throw upfield due to the flat marks from San Diego. Pellegrini provides an outlet. McCarthy, Nelson, throw to the end zone. It's Thorpe. Those two players connect yet again. Quick punch back after the San Diego break.
When you look at the WL record book for total yards over the course of seasons, Thorpe appears twice in the top 10 in the record book over 2 different seasons, and Nelson also appears in the record book for throwing yards, including this year they hit a new WL record for close to 3,000 throwing yards in the regular season. And so the two of them, like the number of both throwing and receiving yards that they put up together, amounts to such a significant contribution for Alpenglow.
It's also a little bananas because everybody knows that those two players are going to try to connect with each other, and you have to stop them. They are not going to blink or try to make a mistake. They're going to keep trying to hit that connection. As we see this offensive line for San Diego, Schultz with the disc now, try to do the same thing and make connections all the way to the end zone. Rozicki Shaw, Bow not able to contain that under the pressure from Rina Kawabata. But Guzman gets it back, thinks about leading Gray, hits Lexa Stambaugh instead, and it's Bow in the end zone. Gray took so much of the defensive pressure away that other players were able to fill in. That's a look at the turn. And the D back.
I think this is that momentum shift that you were referring to earlier for Super Bloom, that they're, as we're getting later in the game, this is when they're building up their momentum and using those full rotation of all of the players hitting the field to their advantage to still be able to put fresh legs on as we are deep into the third quarter.
Yes, but points are being played much more quickly. We have already hit the same number of points as any of the other quarters, and we still have about 5 minutes to play. A rolling pole from San Diego, fielded by Pellegrini that time. Pellegrini finds Hecht. Leslie guarding. Inside to Pellegrini. Pellegrini and Hecht have gone every other. Iwamoto lays out, but Bransford retains possession. And that time it's Zettner getting the D on Sarah Levin. Zettner hawks it deep, fading to the break side, intended for Cam Helm, but too far in the wind.
But she was ripping it.
Absolutely, with the game plan of Super Bloom. Nelson picks up close to their own end zone line. Bransford. Pellegrini. Nelson laying out to retain possession. That flick hook unleashed Bransford. Gets it, has Pellegrini, a lot of defenders poaching in that space. High stall count, finds Ito. Really glad to see Ito back on the field after a collision in the first quarter. And Bransford, who had received so many in that point, bobbles on the end zone line. Ellis now in possession for Super Bloom after 2 passes. Leslie has Helton open on the open side. No one going deep. Helton calming down, hits Leslie. Leslie upfield. Jamison and Zettner. Now Leslie again, a little too far. Hands on head, apologies. It looks like an injury being taken by May Hecht from Colorado. Thorpe coming on. Jamison coming off, being replaced by Weaver, as this is going to remain a turnover, I believe. But if one team takes an injury substitution, the other team can take an ancillary, so you have the same number of fresh legs on the field relatively.
McCarthy didn't call that sub, but definitely walking with a little bit of a limp. And so is that like a cramp in the making, something to keep an eye on as we keep going?
All right, keep the bananas prepped as we feel the heat in this third quarter. Ito. And Pellegrini. Not a lot of reset options. Goes back to Ito. Thorpe, and I believe I heard another timeout whistle being called. That is from Colorado.
That very much felt like a possession-saving timeout call of, oh no, a stall is about to be called. I can feel that rising. And so as a coach, I'm going to step in and call that timeout to make sure my team maintains possession.
Now, I will be interested to see what they do here, as most of the times that Colorado has taken a timeout, they leave their offensive line on the field. But they look, like you said, tired. Let's have the bananas prepped stat. Are we cramping? Because they have run so many minutes in this game.
Well, that was the defensive line that was on the field, and so, are they going to put the offensive line on the field? They had pulled Thorpe over during the substitution, the injury substitution, but it was largely defensive players. But you can see Nelson on the field.
Yes, but Really looks like a mix. I'm seeing Sevier and Lavoie out there. Maybe a 0-2 kind of a line. But certainly the record book makers, Ari Nelson and Abby Thorpe, on there. Alicia Dixon also.
Colorado talking about, less crossover in the regular season and expecting more crossover between lines for players.
Weaver gets it. It's a block. San Diego goes the other direction. Quickly, it's Pajunas in the end zone. And just like that, after the timeout, San Diego Super Bloom capitalizes on another break. Their third in this second half. This is more points from this game.
Nice around that bid from Nelson to keep possession. Ito putting it into space. The bobble from Bransford a little bit too far. That a really great read from Mansfield. And that score to Pajunas. San Diego talked about the arc of their season as a half pipe, where they started off really hot. They were very proud of their initial win against the Falcons. And then, some of their other games, there was like a little bit of growing pains. And so you're going down the half pipe. And then they feel like they're riding the momentum to come back up the half pipe. And I think that metaphor is almost happening in this game as well.
Absolutely, and players like Kristen Pajunas and Caitlin Weaver are a big reason why. They have taken a lot of touches and they have gotten blocks in this game and then capitalized in a way that the team was not able to in the first half. Different looking line, O'Connor on the field, Thorpe centering, Ito, O'Connor moving quickly. Black and O'Connor shooting up and over, spinning, and it's a completion. Kennedy McCarthy with the score.
O'Connor showing why they fit in so well with this team, even though they are a travel player and commuting. I think that the take the shots when they're there mentality that O'Connor has. So really, lefty around to be able to hit McCarthy in the end zone.
And that also worked because McCarthy saw that it was coming early and adjusted the trajectory of her cut in order to get there. Because had Kennedy not changed, that would have been overthrown in the end zone. So it's also utilizing a very good receiver. Game within one, O'Connor on the field in the D, squinting into the sun, trying to get those matchups as the sun gets lower and the angle gets a little more directly into the eyeballs, a little bit more difficult to see.
O'Connor, who says their favorite workout is a burpee.
Not surprised. Gray pointing, Guzman in the middle. Has very big throws, but has been judicious with when to throw. Also gesturing where they want to hit. No cutters coming back towards stall count riding. Lefty backhand to find Nissen. Nissen, I think the only true lefty on Super Bloom. Bow. Dishes. 30 seconds on the clock. Possession remains with the team who has the disc. This is coming down. These are the small moments of if you give players a chance the other direction. A pick is stopping play, and the clock will also stop with these calls in the under 2 minute mark.
And with the heat and the length of the game, this I think really advantages the offense in this moment because it gives them an opportunity to reset and sort of figure out their play.
Guzman resets to Nissen. Margot Nissen up into space, and it's to Sevier. before the clock. That Colorado has a chance to go the other direction. O'Connor shoots to the middle of the field. Sevier looking to the end zone. Back to O'Connor. Slows it down. There was a lot of momentum headed that way. Black. This would be to tie it at 10s. The clock doesn't matter now. It's just a possession, and it's out of the hands of Grace Brown. That tying possession slipped through her fingers. All of that work, and San Diego is up 10-9. You can see Captain Abby Thorpe hyping her up. Here is a replay. It doesn't capture the excitement, the moments that just slip away from you, but don't slip away from us. Back in a moment.
Creatine is only for extreme athletes who eat dominance.
Actually, let's skip that part. Combat Candy is for everyone who trains hard and deserves better than choking down powder. 5 grams of science-backed creatine and a gummy that turns supplement routine into something to look forward to. Just because your workout is serious business doesn't mean your creatine supplement needs to be. Combat Candy. Making strength frickin' delicious. Try it at combatcandies.com.
One quarter left to play. 1 point separating San Diego Super Bloom and Colorado Alpenglow. San Diego currently has a 1 point advantage. Each team has 1 timeout remaining. Which one of these teams is going to be in finals? I honestly don't know. With the lead changes and everything going on, does Colorado have the legs to do it? Does San Diego have the poise? I could not have written this better, Charlie. I'm excited. How do you feel right now, other than hot? Because it's hot out here.
Definitely hot, definitely joyful, right? This moment, like, showcasing what women's sports can look like in a city like Portland, where women's sports are really, like, up and coming. This is the best of what we have to offer.
San Diego starts this quarter on offense. Ellis, Leslie, and Iwamoto working in the handling space. Finding Zettner upfield. Has Hruzhnikova looking. Great cutting upfield. Has to lose yards, but Leslie resets the stall. Trying to find space inside to Ellis. Not a lot of cutting upfield, opting to utilize that space. Iwamoto gets free, but other defenders in space. Leslie not panicking under the switches. Hruzhnikova tries to get it, and it's Zettner on the follow-up. It's still a score. What effort from those 2 San Diego players. I think Hruzhnikova was set because she thought that it was a turn, but then realized that Zettner had gotten there and was pretty excited, deservedly so. Clean offensive possession from Super Bloom.
In such beautiful form for Hruzhnikova on that bidding attempt. And, you know, I love the team effort for Zettner to be there for that follow-up. Super Bloom now up by 2. This is a significant lead in such a tight game.
Yeah, Teresa Zettner, usually called by her teammates TZ, has played on a lot of different club teams, mostly in the mixed division, but lending her talents in the WL to Super Bloom. Pajunas with the pull.
O'Connor making their way to the O-line.
O'Connor threads the needle, turfs it. Dixon calling injury, coming up with a limp. Is all effort even on getting off of the field. A little bit of a army crawl after the, we're going to say, classic cramp pose. We said to have a banana on standby for McCarthy, but maybe Alicia needs a little help too. It's certainly something that Colorado talked about in their pregame prep, about knowing the weather for this weekend and knowing that it was going to be hot and having to adjust.
But they said that their last double practice weekend, it was 94, and so that this actually isn't as hot as it was in Colorado in the conditions that they were just practicing for. One of the interesting things about this weekend is that none of the 4 teams that are playing at championship weekend are also the host. So this is, a third party.
Super Bloom with possession, Weaver, and a layout block from Thorpe, denied.
What a dog!
She has a flag somewhere. She is one of the emotional leaders of the team and really buys into the dogs mentality that has fueled Alpenglow. Nelson on a high stall, I think maybe a pick in the stack. It doesn't affect the outcome, right? Because it would still, right, the pick doesn't bring the disc back. So it's going to be turnover, but way down there as we see Sevier going off with an injury as well.
One of the factors of being a neutral third site is that both of these teams had to fly in, and with all of the other events that are happening in Portland this weekend, transportation has been expensive. And so, high school national invite is happening. There's a major national track meet that's happening. A lot of local colleges are graduating. And so, and the FIFA World Cup is happening in Seattle. And so you also have, people coming to the Pacific Northwest for all of these different events, meaning that both of these teams have had to fly in rosters that don't have a lot of reserve players. So they're playing with just the bare minimum of players that they have on the field.
Yeah, as we're trying to figure out the result of this play, in my mind, I haven't seen anything that would, to my knowledge, bring the disc back to Nelson. Unless there was a stall or something, a foul called. Yeah, unless the injury was before the throw. But that's really, I think, difficult because I didn't see the hand signal thrown by Sevier in order to give us a visual reference point of when that would be. But it feels like maybe a little nice breather. An unofficial timeout for these players as we
continue to bake in the hot sun. I think it's also, there's a mental fortitude aspect for these teams. Once you're standing out there sort of awkwardly for this long, who is going to be able to dial in to execute as this play looks like it's starting to finally resolve itself, and we'll get back to live play shortly.
It's almost like they're trying to play disc golf through the players to get it back to Nelson as the thrower. All right, now that we've had this nice little chat, let's get back to some frisbee, shall we? Nelson does exactly the same thing again, goes deep for the end zone. Pajunas can't affect McCarthy. It looks like a pick call is going to bring McCarthy back. And, deja vu all over again. Let's do this, first shot, second shot. We going for 3? I mean, knowing the ability of Nelson to throw that flick in the wind with such precision, power, and accuracy, I think it's a possibility. It's a distinct possibility, Charlie.
We had talked about the connection between Thorpe and Nelson earlier, and I think that, you know, Super Bloom has identified the arm that Nelson has and is working to limit what they can do with that. And so it's not Thorpe as the receiver. It's noteworthy that it's different individuals.
And a timeout called by Nelson after all of that. Goodness gracious.
That is phenomenal.
All right, well, after all of that, we're also going to take a break and let these players think about what they just did as Colorado takes a timeout. More to come as we wind down the fourth quarter. Colorado took a timeout after we figured out a series of calls. San Diego still huddled. They lead by 2 points. It is the fourth quarter. The winner goes on to play in the championship game tomorrow at 12:30 Pacific. The loser will have to sit in the stands and wish they were there. And they have just under 9 minutes to figure it out. Nelson for Colorado picking up Helton on the mark, finds O'Connor to the middle of the field. Bransford too far behind Nelson. Helton picks up, trying to calm things down. Weaver to Pajunas. Pajunas unleashes a flick. It's floating. Nelson and Helton. Helton using body position to get in front of Nelson, making a clean play. Break for San Diego Super Bloom.
Pajunas actually leads the team in throwing yards with 1,365 in the regular season. And they have been a little bit quiet on the throwing front in this game, but these are the throws that they are capable of, that they have been perfecting over the course of this season, that are making a difference coming down the stretch as we head into the end of this game. San Diego has, if we use Ultiworld's edge calculations, which are some advanced statistical calculations, they show that San Diego has the smallest variation in offensive production, which points to a high level of offensive distribution amongst the team in an absence of weak links. And so we're seeing that here on the field.
Oh, Charlie, when you talk stats to me like that, what am I supposed to do? It is one of the things I love about this league is just talking about those fine margins. Colorado, however, Kawabata Wieringa inside to Ito. Ito thought about it and decides, yes, I do want to put the backhand deep. Schultz in pursuit, and it's a huge grab from McCarthy. That 0-2 line, and Sarah Ito getting it done. I feel like the Sarah Ito Shame teammates are going to be absolutely elevating wherever they are watching her play. Just so calm. You saw the fake of that flick and then the decision to put it, trusting McCarthy as a receiver.
I played with Ito during one of their first club seasons on Scandal, more than a decade ago. And, they came to Ultimate a little bit later in life, but they have kept playing. Like, Ito is Grandmasters eligible and was leading the team in blocks, right? But also, over the course of her career, has developed an arsenal of throws and a depth of composure from winning national championships and being put in these high pressure situations that they are able to execute. And particularly having not played some points because of the knee collision, their fresh legs and fresh brain is definitely going to be a significant contribution for Alpenglow as they look to take back the lead in the last 7.5 minutes of the game.
The pole went significantly out of bounds, and so it looks like Iwamoto is going to center the disc a little bit. Nope, at the brick mark. Resetting to Leslie. Inside, intended for Zettner, behind Sevier, back on the field, gets that. Off to the races, it's Sevier, every other. Black. Out, and Sevier does go every other. Colorado answers.
Sevier had 10 blocks in the last 4 games. They've been a little bit quiet this game, but Sevier is quiet no longer. Their ability to drive the offense on the turn made a difference for Colorado in this moment. This is another one of those momentum shift points in the game. You can feel Colorado surging.
This is the first break for Colorado since the second point of the game. Do you know how long ago that was? It feels like eons. Goodness gracious, 1.7 minutes on the clock. Sevier absolutely took over that counterpunch, going every other, utilizing O'Connor and Black and getting it into the end zone. O'Connor back on the field, Black as well. Black, one of the captains of this Alpenglow side. Carolyn, one of the players who is taking the very difficult handler marks. Bloomy centers to Walter. Pajunas. Maxfield. Looking, doesn't like it, has to go back to Pajunas. Pajunas right back to the same side. Bile. Walter, all on that same side of the field, right up the forehand side, looks for a Brown break, up, over the top, and is it Pajunas? Who is aware all the way in the end zone? A stall is maybe going to be called and put a little bit of uncertainty into that, and it is ruled not a stall, it is a goal. The heads up play, the space making cuts from Kristen Pajunas. Walter Highstall puts that over 3 receivers and into the hands of the one that notches the goal. Woo, buddy, we got a game.
And something that we haven't given enough credit to is Colorado's defense. So that phenomenal grab by Pajunas, right? Great, throwing it up to space, high in the stall count. And there wasn't an open receiver for the first 6 seconds of the stall count. And Pajunas had to be thrown open on sort of a bailout throw as that stall was getting called. And I think that, we talk about Colorado's offense and how strong they are. And the tight defense that Colorado is putting on is making really small windows for Super Blue.
Pajunas with the pull. Hacked back on the field after going off earlier. Centers to Nelson.
In a junk set from San Diego.
Yeah, you can see they're not marking a specific person, but instead the space, and Tori Gray reads it perfectly. Thorpe turns it over. Ishii, Maxfield, Pajunas coming from behind. Hits Ishii. Leading Hruzhnikova. San Diego answers in a big way with 2 quick jabs.
Gray really sneaking in there to get that block. San Diego, as the defending WUL champions, and as they were crafting this roster and going into the season, the stated goal was to win another championship. And this is the point that they are really looking like that championship caliber team as they're like those little pieces are coming together. We've seen blips of greatness and we've seen blips of miscues from San Diego, and they're putting together the pieces with more consistency as we get toward the end of this game.
Same line going out on the field. Fruzhnikova, Pajunas, Bloomy, Gray, Ishii, Weaver, Maxfield. 3 points in a row for this squad. They got 2. Colorado looking to hold, to keep it within 2, to put it back within 2. A lot of players in the backfield really flattening out the space. Upfield to Hecht, giving and go with Thorpe. Thorpe. O'Connor. McCarthy. Thorpe not gaining a lot of yards, but having to reset up and over the top. McCarthy in the backfield working with Thorpe and Heck. Nelson pushed upfield, up and over the top, finds a hole to Pellegrini. Hecht. San Diego stays in the zone, up and over the top, looking for Nelson. Patience from Alpenglow gives them the score. 14-12.
Hecht's ability to break the mark is something that really propels this offense. It's exactly what they did here on that lateral pass to Nelson into the end zone. I think it opens up so much other like available downfield shots when they're distributing it laterally.
And they had to distribute it laterally because there was a veritable wall of San Diego defenders that created a shape-changing defense that Colorado had to utilize their patience, right, to really break, something we haven't seen them do as well, as efficiently as that last point.
San Diego has run that end zone D before, and you know there have been times where it's given Colorado a challenge, and they have also scored through it.
Nissen upfield for Stambaugh. Lexa hits Abby Schultz. Nissen cutting for the reset, finds it on the other direction. Banis marking. Bow almost yields to the pressure from Sevier. Weaver being marked by Vlack, finds Guzman as an outlet. Flat marks from Colorado, creating havoc. Stambaugh gets it close to the sideline, trying to work to the end zone. Guzman goes up line in between 2 receivers. Apologizes for Sevier, but Guzman using that speed to get open upfield. San Diego hold.
It is not enough at this point for Colorado to keep holding. Being down by 2 or 3, depending on where you are in the hold cycle, is not enough to win this game. And so with 4 minutes left in the game, Colorado needs to be efficient with their O right here, but then they need to be able to get those breaks against a San Diego offense that is churning and working together seamlessly right now.
Yeah, that is Coach Jonathan Goose Helton, one of the coaches who led San Diego to the championship last year, returning. This San Diego side is nominated for the Coaching Staff of the Year. Those awards presented tomorrow during halftime of finals. floats up but lands right on that half line. Nelson. Shot. Pajunas. Thorpe! You can't break up that matchup! Oh, Pajunas got the D. Abby Thorpe is fired up. Pajunas went to go give a high five, and Thorpe was too intense. Here's another look at that block, trying to get the second effort. Great grab by Abby.
When we talked to Abby before this game, they pointed out that the season is 142 days long. And we've talked to different teams, and some people have said the season's really short, and some people have said the season's really long. But I think the collective agreement that everyone is saying is, regardless of how you feel about the length of the season, we have to be playing with urgency. And Thorpe just showed the urgency that they are playing with in this moment as the culmination of the season. That they, like, Alpenglow is on a trajectory to be the best version of themselves at championship weekend, and Thorpe is playing like that right now.
Thorpe talked about how the team wasn't prepared to be in this game last year. They weren't prepared for the noise. They weren't prepared for, the travel, the time. They came into the season undefeated and then didn't make it to the finals. And this year they come more prepared as they get a turnout of San Diego. Banis now with the disc. Sevier. Back to O'Connor. Break opportunity for Colorado. Bransford. Big throw. Up. Maxfield gets the block. Intended for Adair Andre. Bransford maybe just didn't put enough on that in these clutch moments.
Alpenglow throwing an unconventional quote-unquote pull there, just tossing the disc to the sideline so they would be able to have a zone set on Super Boom from the get-go coming out of the pull.
Bloomy Highstall has to put it up. Bransford gets it. Banis to Ito. Back to Banis. Up. Maxfield. Again. Looks like a foul being called on Maxfield on this one.
Maxfield definitely had the inside lane, but I think the argument is that the pass she took created contact. Right? She could not have gotten that block without creating contact, would be the counter argument here.
Yeah, I think also you can see clearly gets to the disc first on the inside line. So if you're going to me, the observer says it is a foul on Maxfield. The disc is going to stay. In this case with Adair Andre.
Maxfield continuing to argue their point after the observer has issued their ruling. Oh.
I'm honestly a little confused because it does seem like there was a reversal in that call and a yellow card being shown. For one second, that red card popped out, and I was a little bit terrified that we were going to have to talk about that. But these two players are amicable within themselves. I think that the observers are just talking about how this should be resolved, because it's clearly two players vying for the same space. And it's going to be a turn. Who knows? Okay. San Diego has the disc. Now Perjunis pivoting and faking as Colorado plays defense. This is an offensive point for Super Bloom.
With under 2 minutes to go in the game.
Bio upfield to Perjunis, who dishes to Bloomy. Bloomy to Bio. Bio flips it to Maxfield. Maxfield and Andre really going head to head. Bookends for Maxfield, but a lot of confusion and admirable effort there from Andre.
Bloomy has had a couple instances this game where she has thrown the disc across the field on an inside lane. It's exactly what she does right here, and that is really what opens up the play for Super Bloom to be able to complete and convert on this offensive possession. As time winds down and play ramps up with just a minute and a half left, San Diego up by 3. We are getting to the point that a comeback becomes close to impossible.
That call really has a lot of implications towards the end of the game as the clock winds down. It's one of those where I was like, maybe you should have just contested and sent it back, and then you wouldn't have had to, you know, have it taken out of your own control, but that is now behind us. Colorado needs a quick one. Nelson. Hecht. Across. Pellegrini, Ito, and McCarthy. Dishing. McCarthy, big throw out. Thorpe gets it in between 3 defenders, and then too low for Sarah Levin.
Super Bloom threw a zone there to stop the offensive momentum and slow down the pace of Colorado, which was definitely a strong tactical move.
Gray going long.
Alpenglow, San Diego doesn't need to score here. They just need to take time off the clock.
Nelson finds Thorpe on the opposite side. Hammer goes the other direction. Schultz showing off that vertical. Stambaugh to pick up. Inside. Bow to Rozicki Shaw. Schultz gets it underneath of Ito. Across. Floating. Stambaugh tries to keep it in bounds, cannot.
And time was expiring as that play was happening. Does Colorado get a last possession? Time has expired, but Colorado has this final possession to end this game.
Thorpe has it. Nelson and Hecht, Ito. The Alpenglow offensive line has been stalwart all season, but as time has expired, it's playing for this last possession together, and who but Nelson to Thorpe. They score but cannot punch their ticket in. The defensive prowess from San Diego overmatched. The runs in the third quarter, those breaks added up chink by chink, and they are going to go to the final tomorrow to try to defend their title against the two-time winners, trying to get back to the top, Seattle Tempest. You see so much effort and love for the game and their teammates with these players. You don't risk getting to this level and winning without risking getting hurt. It is the beauty and tragedy of sports that we all come to play for.
The emotion is palpable on both sides. The heart and the commitment that these players have poured into their season are clearly showcased in how they're carrying themselves as we go through this final huddle.
And it is the same difference of score as when they played in the regular season. San Diego by 2 over Colorado. And there were some plays in this game that I will certainly remember. But Discraft play of the game is this one. Schultz over the top. Ellis elevating and flipping it to Caitlin Weaver. One of the breaks that changed the momentum of the game is our Discraft play of the game.
Both of these teams savoring this moment to be together with their different team identities and thinking about what lies ahead for them. As part of championship weekend this year, there is no third place game like there has been in the past. And so that does mean this is the culmination of Colorado's season. And that by winning this game, Super Bloom has earned the right to play on Sunday, to have another chance to be together, in addition to playing for a championship. But, when I think about these teams, so much of it, yes, teams want to win, but so much of it is also about the opportunity to be together.
And hopefully we will be joined by one of the players after taking a short break from our sponsors. Don't go anywhere. The voices of the WUL after this.
Get down in the car, one time give it all. Bust it open hard, let me see you drop. Get down in the car, one time give it all. Bust it open hard, let me see you drop. I fucked up this Russell, day we hustle, but the oh my. I fucked up this Russell, day we hustle, but the oh my. What is my guns? Know that they fly, know that they ride or die.
San Diego Super Bloom takes down Colorado Alpenglow 16-14 in the semifinal, and we are joined by San Diego Super Bloom standout Kristen Pajunas. Kristen, Vendetta, tell us about your emotions after that game.
I'm just so incredibly proud of the team. We were down in the first half, and the coaches took us into the locker room, and the whole season our motto has been sometimes you, sometimes me, always us. And that's how we played, right? We have 3 incredible lines that we're just able to run relentlessly today. And yeah, there's like so much emotion because there's like so many moments by so many people that went into it. Some of which are healthy and playing, some of which are watching us from home. Hi Sonic, we love you so much. But yeah, I'm just so proud of each and every person on this team, and especially to our coaching staff for a phenomenally coached game.
You've been with San Diego since the very beginning, and San Diego has gone from a team that was really headlined by a couple of stars to being a complete team effort like you were just referencing. Can you take us inside what you have been doing as a program over the course of years or over the course of this season to get to this full team contribution?
Yeah, I mean, it was the work of a lot of incredible leaders. I want to shout out Angela Wells, who coached us from the start, Alicia Stown and Carlo Mosca, who came in, and then Amy and Goose, who have come in later on and have put so much work into player development and really building a system. And a lot of players who have worked really, really hard out of the spotlight and like found a way to grow. Mika Leslie in particular has stepped up for us in a really big way, and then Caitlin Weaver just played out of her mind and like carried us when we were down this game.
I was going to say, we can't discount your contribution too, Kristen, because you had a previous season where your total assists were, I think, 14, and this year you had 22, really elevating your own game. What is it about this league and this sport that forces you to continue to improve your own game? What do you love so much about it?
You know, these 22-year-olds keep coming into the league and just being so good. You know, you can't rest on your laurels and, like, especially say, like, oh, I'm just going to out-athlete them. That's just not the case anymore. But in particular, like, my coaches and teammates pushing me. It's something I've worked a lot on over the years to develop as, like, a holistic player and not just be a D-line player. But again, like, having better players surround me makes it easier, allows me to take the correct shot, whereas before, I think our offense, like you said, was really top-heavy and a lot of prayers to the deep space.
What would you say, now that you are the crafty veteran on the team, to all of the people who are, you know, the fans that are looking up to you, what's your messaging to them about how to, like, get to this place?
You have to work really hard at practice. I really pride myself. I show up to every single practice. And for me, I don't believe in the, like, oh, I'll do it in the game. I will bid every practice. I will play my hardest defense every practice. Sometimes that does mean some, like, heated emotions with teammates, but we trust that it's to better us. And every teammate will tell you, like, I come really, really intense to practice, whether it's Super Bloom or club or worlds. Every practice, you have to work hard because it's an opportunity to get better.
And tomorrow you have one more opportunity to try to do back-to-back finals. Any final thoughts about finals tomorrow?
Sometimes you, sometimes me, always us. We're going to do it together.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time. We'll let you go celebrate with your team and rest up for tomorrow's final. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
San Diego Super Bloom notches one step closer to finals and doing back-to-back, but they will face a very hungry Seattle Tempest. Everything is to play for tomorrow here at Portland, Oregon. But before we go into that, let's take a look at the amazing plays from this game.
Both teams worked so hard and exemplified their athleticism and talent that they built up over the course of the season. The love that was shown completely showcases the best of professional women's ultimate.
Both of these teams worked really hard. In the beginning, it was Alpenglow up a break, but Super Bloom with plays like that from Laura Bloomy, blocks from Meredith Bio, and grabs from Abby Schiltz. They proved why they have been the #1 team in the South Conference and pushed a spot into the final tomorrow. Seattle Tempest will certainly have a game on their hands. Two excellent semis were played, but who will take the crown tomorrow, 12:30 Pacific, here on the Western Ultimate League YouTube? I am Katie Killaroo with Charlie Merson and the entire Western Ultimate League team. Thank you and good night.